Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Beyond the 90. Thank you for checking out this video. And today we're just going to be going through some of the previews to the upcoming game against Brighton. So let me know in the comments what you think so far, what you think some of the results will be, because obviously Brighton have been performing quite well at the time as well. Just like to say a quick thank you to Ian for setting the reminder, and Yeti Boy as well. So thank you to specifically. But yeah, get your thoughts in. What do you think of the game? There's been some very interesting things that are said in the press conference, which we haven't heard before from Brendan Rodgers. A little bit of a sneak preview, but if you've not seen this before, welcome back. This is the preview show. We're trying something new. Good afternoon to you, Yeti Boy. Thank you so much for checking it out once again. And we're just going to talk a little bit about the press conference that Brendan Rodgers has talked about yesterday, and also a preview to the match, as well as some other information that can play into the match as well. Hello to Foxton and hello to Marlon Daly as well. So really appreciate everybody for joining in, but let's get straight into it. So Brendan Rodgers was asked about first of all, the pressure of being in the top four. And as we know from the table, which we'll get onto in a second, we can do something great this season. We can do something great this season again. We can win 2 trophies, Foxton. I'm guessing which 2 are you talking about? Yep, you've just answered that. UEFA, UEL, and FA. Do you know what? We've got a good chance. However, this is one thing I want to bring up later in the program. So let me get back to you on that, because that's a really good point you mentioned and something that I've got down in my notes. So Brendan Rodgers, when he's talking about the top 4, he said they're under no pressure whatsoever from the hierarchy to achieve certain goals. The club is ambitious, he said, but realistically ambitious. The club has shown anything is possible, but we want to evolve and develop. And this is an awesome thing I find about Leicester, is that we're pushing forward. Rob Tanner from The Athletic wrote a really good article about the top 6 and Leicester becoming the top 7. So I highly recommend, if you've got The Athletic, to go and win that. You could go and read that. I've just got distracted by a comment. Do you mean we can win 3 trophies? The Premier League? We're going to get onto that in a second. So hold me accountable to that one, Yeti, because I really appreciate the comment. And yes, we're going to look into that in a second. But a bit more on the press conference. Brendan Rodgers was asked, obviously, it's been a busy February and we've got 6 more games to play until the end. And bearing in mind, the last game, I think, is on the 28th. And just before we continue, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for checking it out. And if you could like and subscribe, we're trying. I'm trying to do the promotional stuff, but I'm not that great. But we're bringing you one pre-match press conference and one match review live as well. So there's going to be a lot of content coming out from us, guys. So make sure you're tuned into that, because again, we've been really appreciative of the feedback, and let alone all the stuff that awesome Hannah is doing with the Leicester City women. So make sure to watch her videos and give us a follow as well after this one. So when it comes to certain players, Brendan Rodgers said, are there going to be changes? Brendan Rodgers basically has said yes. Brendan Rodgers said there will be changes on Wednesday, and suggested young players will be given a chance to play. We'll have a strong 11. We'll consider the month and the amount of games and the early kickoff as well, because the kickoff against Liverpool is going to be 12:30 on Saturday. We'll look in some talent. We'll have look into some of the talented young guys with us. So from that, it's going to be a very interesting game. So if you go to, I don't want to share it just yet because I can only find the picture on Facebook. I don't want to leak my actual Facebook, and in case any messages pop up. But you look at the performance that was against Blackburn Rovers under 23s. Salarcic, Godsman, Cods, Markford, Clark, Finn, Tavares, Hume, McTeer, Sunchitawan, Fitzhugh, Regber, and Wakeling. Now, you compare to the one this week, and this is the under-23s. Salarcic, Simpson, again, Danny Simpson, which I think we're all a bit interested to see come back. Abdullahi, Clark, Ufiko, I've probably butchered that name, Hume, Ewig, Braybrook, Alton John, Arlott John, McAteer, and Wakeling. So you see from that, there is a very big shift in terms of the players that come in from the under-23s. We've wanted to give players a chance. This looks like the opportunity. When he's talking about young players, who exactly do you think will be able to come in? Because there are some really, really good players at the moment that have really come through the ranks. So some players that I've managed to note down, obviously Sun Chitawan. I think a lot of us have been impressed with how he's performed in the under 23s. Maybe he'll get this start. That's where the kind of clickbait title comes from. But I think maybe he'll have a go. Ali Regba, who's impressed when coming from Ireland. I think he's an Irish Algerian background. And I think he'll be really interested to see in what happens. Somebody we were talking about last week, or I was talking about on this show last week, which was Tavares, because he is a great player, in my opinion. And hopefully, if all goes to plan, he can develop into a great player, because we're missing that. I think I covered it last time. We're missing that kind of speedster, and he could be that option, in my opinion. Again, there's lots of good comments as well. So over to sorry, my StreamYard is just frozen, so I'll just have to read the comments out. Glenn has commented, do you think Brighton will make many changes? They played against Saturday at Burnley, and they will play Villa next Sunday. They're 10 points clear of the bottom three. This is a good point. Do they focus on a trophy, or do they focus on beating us? And we've beaten them at home 3-0, but we put out a fully strength team. I can remember James Justin having an absolute brilliant game. And so what do I think? I'm not sure what they think, what I think will happen, because Brendan Rodgers had a really weird mentality, not in a good way, of putting a fully strength team out. For example, against Stoke, apart from Vardy and Maddison, he put out a full strength team. And now we're in the top 16 against Brighton. I think you'll see Brighton come at us, and you've seen that they've beat the likes of Liverpool. So it's going to be a tough game, in my opinion, especially if we play the under 23s. James has commented. Thanks for the comment, James. I think I've read that Brighton will field a weakened team as they're suffering from fatigue, and physically and mentally. I think that's a lot of players, and that's probably going into Brendan Rodgers' thinking as well, because of the amount of games we're playing. And coming back to Foxton and Foxton's point where we could win 2 trophies, maybe this is the thinking where we're putting more emphasis and save certain players for them games, with the Europa League games, and then come back, and maybe the FA Cup comes behind. I know that Sue from Enderby, I want to say, the one that's on BBC Radio Leicester, so that they really want the FA Cup this season. I just don't see it happening. And I'd rather them field a young squad, because I want to see how well they can develop. This team will be a mixture of young players and old players, just as Leicester always is, but players that don't get as much game time. So we're looking at the likes of Daniel Amate coming into the team, in my opinion. Luke Thomas, who's just on the fringes, and again has been really impactful along the sides of Harvey Barnes. They've got a really good link up there. I think Under will come into the game and give his chance to prove why he should get in the team. Mark Albrighton is another one. These players that are really good players, but up front is where it's at. So let me know who you think will start. So do you think they'll play Jamie Vardy? As I say, Ali Regba is another example. Kelechi Iheanacho, Ayoze Perez. There's quite a few at the moment. So make sure to get your comments in. Foxton has gone Even Tony. I've heard of that name. I'm not too sure who that is, so sorry about that. And then he's gone Nketiah from Arsenal. I mean, he would be a great shout if we could get him. I don't think Arsenal are going to let him go. And bear in mind, they won't even let us take from them Maitland-Niles just for the season, because they see this as European commentary. So European rivals. Again, I think Nketiah broke the record for England for the under-23 number of goals. So the future is bright for him. And I can't see Arsenal getting rid of him. Foxton's also said, let's play the B team. And that should be interesting. I think that's true. So I wish I could get these comments up. Unfortunately, the my thing has broken at the moment, so I'm really sorry, but I'll have to read out that Foxton's team B. Team B. So Ward, Cags, Johnny, Daniel Amate, Thomas, Maddison, Tillemans, Under, Kelechi Iheanacho, Ayoze Perez, and Barnes. So that's quite a strong lineup. I would. Again, you're playing Thomas at right. You have to play Daniel Amate at right back. So one of the issues as well is that I'm all over the place at the moment. So apologies for this, but that's a good team in my opinion. I think that we could do with some more under 23s being in there. I think Tavares might get a run out as well. Yeti Boy's putting in a comment from, in my opinion, all of our under 23s are on are good under 23s of our loan, like Asmar Musquet and Dewsbury Hall. I think they could come back into the season and do some good stuff. For now, I'm not sure. But again, just from some of the players that are available, Tavares for me would be a player that I'm really looking forward to. And the manager spoke really, really highly of him in the past. And I'm hopefully we can get some good players. Jackson Barlinger has, sorry, you can imagine I tripped up over your name. Thoughts on Suchitawan? I think he might be able to get a few minutes as well. So that would be quite cool in terms of trying to build Leicester players up and give them a future, because especially with the tight audience, that could be a real player to get in and make him kind of a cult hero about obviously the King Power brand and how much they've done. And then a player like that, I'm sure that had something to do with him getting him from Nice as well. So that must have had something like that. Lesha Bella, yes, I don't know if I said that one, but I think, yeah, Lesha Bella has really impressed in the preseason. And coming into this season, he was one I was looking out for. He's been on the bench a couple of times, same with Daley Campbell. Fitzhugh, I remember being on the bench as well. So there are a few players that Brendan Rodgers has got his eye on. And as I think me and Alex were saying, there was a chance of him not playing them at all and just keeping that position free. We've got a few injuries, which I'll get onto in a second. However, overall, I think that we have a strong squad. And I think going forward, it's going to be somebody, it's going to be a good sign. Ian said, I can see the manager. I can see the manager. We could see as many as 7 or 8 changes like we did against Brentford. I think that Rodgers will want to end our rather bad form against Liverpool. I would argue with that in terms of I don't think we've been on that many bad runs of form, to be honest, because there wasn't. We'll come on to Liverpool a bit in a second, but Wolves was a draw. We weren't good enough. Leeds, we lost. Sure, that's okay. But apart from that, there's not been too many bad results. Fulham weren't the best team, but we still managed to sail past them, and you can only beat who's in front of you. So overall, I don't see it as that bad. Coming into the Liverpool game, which we'll have another preview with Doug, so friend of the show, and congratulations if you're watching to hitting at 1K subscribers. Really, really happy for you, Doug. We'll have a preview on this channel later on in the week, so Friday or Thursday. So if you've got any questions for Doug, leave them in the comments. I'll make sure to bring them up to him for that. And yeah, really, really good to hear from him. Do you think that, what's it called? Sorry. Pookie Pookie could be a good player, but again, that's signings that are going to happen in the future. Again, we'll concentrate on this match for now. In the summer, there'll be all sorts of stuff. Ethan Fitzhugh and Terrell Pennant. So I think Fitzhugh's been on the bench against what's his name, the Ukrainian team, Zoila Hansk, and he didn't quite come on. I think of a couple of other games as well. So the manager trusts him enough to be on the bench, and we could really do some good stuff, in my opinion. Terrell Pennant, I'm not too sure who that is. I've keeping an eye on a couple of players, but Terrell Pennant unfortunately isn't one of them. Yeti boy guessing my team would be Ward, Justin, Evans, Amate, Thomas, Mendy, Tillemans, Lesha Bella, Albrighton, Barnes, and Iheanacho. So again, a very strong team. And I see a couple of you now playing Amate at right back and resting Ricardo, which I kind of understand. But Justin, Evans, Amate, Thomas. Also, you're dropping Sionchu. You see, this is a match that I think we can get away without playing Evans. Evans is going to have to is a vocal point in that back line. And you looked a good example of changing all first 11 or the majority of first 11 would be to change against Crystal Palace when we drew 1-1. That team, we played not some under 23s, but we played basically the second team. Harvey Barnes was okay. James Maddison, I don't think played. But the back line, I think, was Luke Thomas, James Justin, Amate, and Sionchu. So them four have already got like a connection. I could see them playing through. I'm kind of worried about JJ because if JJ gets an injury, there is going to be big issues. But I think that the manager trusts him and goes, you just want to keep playing. I just want to keep playing you. However, 8 games in a month is a lot to take on. And that's, as James was saying earlier, the Brighton are going to be tired and mentally drained. And they look like they'll rest a few players. Maybe it's tactics by Graham Potter. I'm not sure in terms of say, we're going to play a weaker team and then come out with an extremely strong team. But I still think that he would be really good. Ian puts in, I think he will rest Barnes and one of Tielemans and Maddison. I agree. I think Tielemans is the main engine and main focal point of the team. Unfortunately, if he has a bad game, like he did against Leeds or like he did against Liverpool last year, this season, the team really struggled to play because a lot of balls come through him. So I can see him not resting Tielemans, but Maddison, I could see having a rest, and then players like maybe Chittawan coming in or Lesha Bella playing in that number 10, because I've been really impressed with the way he gets the ball and drives forward with it. And it's something that Pratt did really well, but obviously with injury, he's not there. And Tavares could do something similar as well. Voctor puts Kasper Schmeichel on penalties. I mean, that could be very interesting to see if we do that. I think it's only a one leg, so it's a knockout stage straight away. However, do you want to get through to the next round? I mean, I do, but we'll come on to that in a second. I don't know if it's priority for us at the moment. Hence why we're putting a load of players from the under 23s in. And I've not seen that many changes since don't want to mention the match. Actually, it's the Newport versus Leicester under Puel. Again, wipe that from the memory. That was an awful game. Alex says, so thank Alex for commenting. Have them game experience from watching from the bench is better than not being there at all. Exactly. And I'm thinking that they're going to do something very, very similar, because it's good that we've got that, in my opinion, that we've got the different things to talk about and different formation we could play. Foxton goes, how great was Hamza against Wolves? Hamza and Mendy start together. Mendy would be another one. And again, Hamza, I could talk about him all day, about how much he's great and his positional awareness in the Fulham game and the game against Wolves. I'm really hoping that we've got a good future for us. Foxton always says we can start a 4-2-3-1, which I think was really good. Glenn, so thank you once again for the comment, Glenn. I think that Vardy is fighting fit now. Seems sharp at the weekend. He creates team that's dynamic. I love to see Tavares and Thanawat at some point. What an opportunity for them. I totally agree. And I'm hopefully thinking that this will be something that we can really fulfill on. So again, Ian T says something that I've mentioned before in the last week. Tavares has been linked with Barcelona, which again can only be a good sign. And I still think that, again, I don't know if a lot of Leicester fans know that he's the cousin of Nani. Again, Nani, the one that used to play for Man United. You know which one I'm talking about, the one with Ronaldo and their amazing link-up. Something that I think was awesome that Leicester do, if they've given players a chance who's, again, look at Schmeichel. So there's probably a lot of conversations that Tavares and Schmeichel have had about how do I escape from a player's shadow that's related to me. That'll be really interesting if ever, putting that out there. If we ever get to interview Kasper Schmeichel, I'd have the biggest smile on my face if I ever get a chance. I guess, so Mad Jason, thanks for the comment. And hi to Full-Time Foxes. So hello to you too. I guess Under will play today. He's playing tomorrow. We're playing tomorrow, and Catchers afterwards for the post-match commentary. We've got myself, we've got LCFC family who are really excited. We've got Alex, and we've got a couple more as well. So I'd really appreciate you joining in for that one. We're recording about 15 minutes after the game. My comments have come back, which is fantastic. I'll be able to get your comments on screen now. Guys, thank you so much for the comments. There is so many, and I'm really enjoying them. So again, hello to Tavares, the comment. Hello to Full-Time Devil, Full-Time Foxes. Full-Time Devil, that's something else. Again, Foxton puts goalkeeper, left back, right back, CDM, right wing needs changing for the Wolves lineup. I have a feeling that they will actually go in and put in Mendy, because he was that right. He's a right player to kind of deal with the back line, tidy up the game, no problem, no hassle, and he does a sturdy job when he comes in. Left back and right back, who would you put at right back? Because again, there's something that we talk about where Ricardo's out. Ricardo, we can't risk. We've talked about this on the post-match to Wolves. Do you risk him? So obviously, I think people are talking about left back. We're talking. I wish I had a slide that I could do stuff with. Left back, we are talking about James Justin. Right back, we are talking about Luke Thomas and James Justin. So I think there'll be some good things. Mendy and Hamza at CDM 4-2-3-1. It could work. I think the problem is you've seen when them two play, or when Hamza plays within Diddy, them two just get in each other's way. And that's one thing to mention. Wilfred Ndidi will be back for this match. He was nursing a little bit of an injury. So would this be the time that you're going to play him? You've got all three players raring to go. In terms of a player that isn't going to play, Timothy Castagne will be out for, quote, another a week to 10 days after picking up a hamstring knock. It looks like he will be out. Fofana will be out. Morgan will be out. Vardy, whether he plays, will be interesting. Do you reckon that under 23s will start? That is a really good question, and I don't know the answer to that. The question is, you've got to look at players like Harvey Barnes. They've played a lot. He's played a lot, sorry. Will we risk him putting him out, putting under in, and then putting somebody else the other side? And I don't know. I'd really like to see it. So I'd really like to see that somebody start, because it's a real. Because you've got to remember that the under 23s and the Premier League, the Premier League team, especially how well we're doing, is such a big difference. So penalty shootouts, I don't know if my heart can take them after the last time. When did we have a penalty shootout? The one that, against the Everton one, I think was the last time we had a penalty shootout as well, and we won that. I think Ricardo got the last goal, or it was brilliant. I'm all good, mate. Thank you, Jason, for the comments. Is there under any? Justin and Thomas coming in, okay, as fullbacks, that'll be good. Foxton's put in. Foxton's put in already 4-2-3, 3-1-4-2, 4-1-1, 3-4-1. I can't read, but that could be an interesting formation. Who would you put in? Because that would be interesting. Ndidi and Vardy should be rested for Liverpool. I'm pretty sure that's what he'll do as well, Serene. So thank you for your comment. I think the likes of Vardy won't be able to start anyway, because it's going to be something that is there's a lot of information going around at the moment. But I think that hang on. I've got one player coming. I've got somebody coming in. Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to. This is the problem with me. I can't do multiple things at once. So it'll be interesting to see if we've got a special guest coming on. I wonder who it is. If get in the comments who you think it is. Justin can play right back too. Sorry, I forgot to mention. Yeah, for some reason I always think of him as a left back, even though he can play both sides. And one thing I want to get on is this thing right here. Oh no, this one. The Premier League. So coming on to this game, obviously we want to win every game. That's as simple as possible. And my special guest has arrived already. Alex, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to. Streamlabs went down for a little bit, so I'm trying to just feel like. And these people have been awesome with the comments, including yourself. So thank you so much. Question for you before we kick off. So now we've got the top four race. We're in the top four race, as we can see from this image here. We're doing all right, and we're in a decent position now. And it seems like certain players like West Ham, Everton, they've fallen away a little bit. Aston Villa have fallen away a little bit. My question to you is: do we leave everything and concentrate on the Premier League securing Champions League money? It's good money. I can't say it in. It's good money. The FA Cups it's nice, but is it going to be the main thing we're going to go for? And the Europa League was good, but the whole point we thought this season to go well in the Europa League was to get into Champions League next time and get the decent money. So that's my question over to you. What are your thoughts on that?
See, that's a difficult question, because I think that we have the opportunity to really, challenge for a lot of different in a lot of different competitions right now. I think that we have the opportunity to make some moves in the Europa League. Tomorrow against Brighton, I think we can take that game no problem. But then you have to worry about at what length are you willing to risk getting farther into those competitions. I actually I commented, asset management is huge, because we do have 8 games in February, and you got a couple players go down. That's kind of it. I think that's the biggest concern, and you're seeing players getting injured right now. So I think Rodgers and the staff really need to focus in on, okay, what games are important to us, what competitions are important to us. And okay, if we're not going to go far in this, or we don't expect us to go any farther than this, then we really need to just bring up maybe some of our younger players and our younger talent to really, chime in and, get some playing experience at this level. And then they can focus in on the other competitions.
I totally agree. And also, you got to remember that we've lost a lot of players in regards to loans as well, with the likes of Matty James going out this window, Filip Benkovic going out this window, the likes of obviously Gray leaving and scoring, which I was thinking, here we go. I'm waiting for the fan base to go, we should have kept him. Blah, blah, blah. Slimani obviously going in the window. So there is opportunities for these players to take that opportunity. But who would you like to see? Because I've probably heard in the stream, I've listed quite a few. So who would you like to see?
I would love to see Thomas play. I think tomorrow's match, you have a perfect time to play Thomas. Give him some play time. Ricardo, let him rest. I think that's what he needs. I think Justin needs to rest. There's all these players that need to rest. Leshabelic should play. At this point, I don't see why not. Because you have all these players that have been playing fantastic this season. But who's to say you come in, during a game, they could have rested during that. And, all of a sudden you're talking about, Madison being out 6 weeks because he blew his knee, or 8 weeks, or, there's things like this that you really need to, that I think Rodgers and company are really looking at, because it's such a touch and go. Why not give those younger players that opportunity?
I think you're totally right. And I think the test match for that was the match against Crystal Palace. So you look to the likes of this man here, Foxen puts Amate. I think he's going to slot in perfectly with the likes, because Evans is getting a bit older. I don't know if you heard BBC Radio Leicester and the awful injury the gruesome injury that happened to Evans, and he injured his toe. His toenail came off, and he carried on playing. And I was just like, again, Brendan Rodgers says it how it is, kind of thing. But so again, give him the match off. If we need him for against Liverpool, we've got to keep that in mind, because it's a Saturday 12:30 kickoff. That's really important to know. So Amate will come in my opinion, alongside Charles Soyuncu, which would be another one. Again, a lot of people are saying Justin and Thomas, which I can agree with. But I just worry that, are we playing James Justin into the ground at the moment? And I mean, we don't really have an option in terms of right back apart from playing Ricardo. But I mean, that's all we've got at the moment. Again, the bare bones squad, that's probably why we've got to pick such a strong team. And bearing in mind, puts a brilliant point by Foxton. Brighton is a Premier League team. The Brentford team that were the Championship, we played pretty much a full-strength team there, apart from Maddison and Vardy. So similar thing where now we're getting into the point where we're recruiting from the under-23s. It's a good experience. However, the only ever time I've seen a mixture of first team and under-23s play together is during the pre-season, and that's a completely different environment to the FA Cup.
Yeah, but I think we're still running into that same issue where there's so many games in the month of February, and that's huge, because you go down. If you bring Evans into this game, instead of Amartey, because I really think you need to play Amartey in this game and let Evans heal, because we're quite thin at center back even right now. With Fofana being injured, Morgan's out right now. Like you said, Benkovic is out because he's on loan. We're really thin. We have Evans, we have Soyuncu, and we have Amartey. And, you're going to rest Evans. So that means you got Soyuncu and you got Amartey playing at center back, And then, as you said, you got Justin. But with Castagna being out, Ricardo's still recovering. And, you have Fuchs and you have Thomas. So you have those guys as well. But, you're really running into this issue on, okay, what competition is more important? And I think that is something that behind the scenes they've definitely discussed, and they probably continue to discuss, every day. Because if you have an injury to James Justin, or you have an injury again to Ricardo or Maddison or any number of these players, all of a sudden you're at a complete, you're completely at a different situation where you're like, okay, are we even going to finish top 4 now in the Prem because we've lost X, Y, and Z? Was it worth going up another, beating Brighton and moving forward in the FA Cup to, miss out on the Champions League?
And what's good about, and I totally agree with you there, and it's the same thing. I agree with Jason. I think we both agree. It'd be nice to win a cup, but I'm just thinking of top 4. And that's literally where I'm thinking of at the moment. We're in a good place. Take that. We didn't do it last season. We've got a better squad now. Let's take it. again, it's something that the amount of players, like amount of squads that they have. I don't know if I was just in preparation for the show. I looked at the under 23s that played last night, and I went, I don't recognize a lot of them. And literally about 8 players that that are taking, people like Ali Regbert, again, like Suchitawan, Tavares, Clark, Fitzhugh. There's some big players that we decided, some real talents that we're deciding to bring in, because again, another player we've got about Fuchs. Fuchs is available as well. He can play back 3 on the left. He can play in multiple positions. So it's good to have the scenario. But I think, again, Glenn puts up a good point. I think it's one of them games where it's going to be tough for a second because the problem is, I think as well, Brendan Rodgers is going to get crucified no matter what. If we get an injury to a top player, then we're going to go, why did you play him? Why didn't you play it under 23? If you played under 23, this was our chance to get through to the cup. And there's been a lot of, I don't know if it's because I've been on Twitter more, but there's been a lot of hate towards Perez and Nacho and stuff. And they haven't been great of recent, but he doesn't do anything. And also, it says, I think it was another point, but it was unnecessary, to be honest. But again, Thomas is good enough to become in left back. I totally agree. Amati can be hot and cold. I think he's mostly been hot this year. He's been pretty consistent. So I'm thinking, you look at the likes of, we forget how good he was in the 5-2 against Man City, where they just absorbed pressure again and again. Not saying that Brighton's anywhere near Man City, but similar kind of thing. And again, people are just talking about concern. So Ian puts in another point. I'm just concerned with Justin Barnes and Yuri. They've played almost every game. And the question is, I think one of the points to end on kind of thing, who's the replacement for Yuri Tillemans? Because he's going to have to play every game, but we don't really have anybody that can really fill in that central position and own the pitch like he's been doing.
Yeah, and that's like, I'm going through my Rolodex, and I'm like, can you really slot anybody into that? Like, the only way you could possibly even think about this is that you completely change up the formation. And even at that point, who do you fit? Just going back on, deciding the lineup and who's going to start, against Brighton tomorrow for Leicester. I think, as bad as it sounds, Rodgers is kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. If a player goes down, or he starts players that, a lot of the fan base is not happy with, and we end up losing, everyone's going to be like, we have this opportunity right now to really move forward in the FA Cup. But if we win and we play a bunch of our starting lineup, then we could have the fan base really focus in, being like, okay, great, we moved ahead in the FA Cup, but we play Liverpool on Saturday, and none of the players are going to be ready. They're all going to be tired. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I don't envy being in Rodgers' position at this point, because I think he's got this is probably one of the toughest weeks for him to decide who's going to play and who's not, because I think the club has probably, like I said, discussed this. How far do we want to go in the FA Cup, or do we want to succeed and finish top 4 in the Prem? And I think that's the biggest question.
Which, again, yeah, you're totally right. I think that coming back to one of the quotes that Brendan Rodgers has from the pre-press match conference, he's under no pressure whatsoever from Leicester's hierarchy to achieve a certain goal. The club is ambitious, Brendan Rodgers said, but realistically ambitious. The club has shown anything is possible, and we want to evolve and develop. So it's kind of open. It's quite open, but at the same time, you get a point that yes, they're trying something. And again, I think this is what it's going to be. There's going to have to be a mix, and again, full-time Foxes, we totally agree. The mix of what though, and what kind of players will be as part of the mix, and that's the problem at the moment. So I think that will be a good place to leave. Oh, one more question from Yeti Boy. I prefer to win the FA Cup than win the Europa League, but top 4 will be amazing. I don't know. I'd rather win a European trophy than win an FA Cup, personally. However, these games are going to come thick and fast. And this month, I think we saw it previously where we had all the injuries. We had to play the same team game in, game out. And now they've had more games under their legs. And now we're coming into a new stage. And this month is going to be a real test for us. I think after this, it drops off a little bit in terms of international football comes in. But you got to remember that Leicester is in a new position now where pretty much every single of those players is a top 10 it plays for their international team. So they go away and play there, then they come back, and they're going to be absolutely knackered. And that's why Yuri Tillemans was knackered for the Liverpool game, which we'll have a preview for. So again, I just want to finish on Glenn's point. Kasper Schmeichel, so Kasper, Thomas, Siyuncu, Amati, Justin Chowdhury, Tillemans, or Brighton, Tavares under Iheanacho. You see, that's not a bad lineup. I think that's pretty good going. And I think it might be something similar to that. Under, I think, will be one to look out for. And I think that Iheanacho might get a shout. But do you think Vardy will get any time as well?
If I'm Brendan Rodgers, I sit Vardy because I think he gets that little bit of extra rest. The real test will be on Saturday against Liverpool. And I think you need Vardy at 100%. Not 80%, not 85%. You want him at 100%. So give him that extra couple of days.
And also, I think what we've mentioned before, Wilfred Ndidi is another player that's come back in. I don't think he was mentioned, but I think Brendan Rodgers said last time he's available for this game. So whether he gets some minutes, again, I think somebody put earlier that they'll rest Vardy and they'll rest Ndidi, and I think they're totally good as well. So we'd like to thank everybody for watching once again. This is the point where I plug the show. So make sure you subscribe, tune in. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, I'm still trying to get used to it. I tried to do it a couple more times today, but thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see everybody for the post-match. Alex will be there. We've got a couple of other Foxes fans as well. So it'll be a really good time. So make sure you come and leave us a comment. Same kind of thing. And we'll see everybody in the next video. Goodbye.